Hello and welcome back to Geometry B, Credit 2. We'll be going over a couple of vocabulary words today. This packet is going to be based on similarity, so we're going to learn what it is, how do we know if two shapes are similar. But before we do that, we're going to go over a couple words: dilation, reflection, rotation, and translation. So just in case you're like, I don't know what those things are, translation is when you can move a shape. So translation is just a fancy word for moving a shape. Reflection is when a shape is essentially mirrored, like in a reflection of a mirror, over some line of symmetry. And rotation is just when a shape turns. Okay, it usually kind of turns around and it's a different orientation. So here, go ahead and take a minute, pause, and figure out which of these shapes kind of match which of these words. Alright, I trusted you. So let's check to see, because the worst thing you could do is you get it incorrect and you learn something new. That's the worst thing that could happen. So letter A is a translation. We're just simply moving that shape. Letter B, we are turning that shape, so you'll notice that it kind of turns around. And then last but not least, now this will have two answers because one student said, well, it could be C, because it's, see that triangle's reflected over this invisible line here. It could also be D because it looks like this shape is also reflecting as well. So those are the 1, 2, 3 words that we just went over. Dilation, which is one of the key terms we'll be using in the first lesson, has to do with a shape either grows or shrinks. So it'll either grow or it'll shrink. One's bigger, one's smaller, but that's essentially what a dilation is. So continuing on, it says, what is special about the shape and size of the preimage and image? So here's a little sentence starter. Notice on this one, what are some things that you notice about these shapes? Well, the shapes are the same. They're both triangles in this case. And it didn't change in size, so it stayed the same size. So you can write whatever you notice, but here are just two things that I kind of noticed about each one of these transformations actually. But like I said, whatever you noticed, go ahead and write that down. Pause here and write it in. And unpause. We're going to go over what a dilation is. So this is taken from your textbook. It says a dilation is a transformation that can change the size of a polygon. So it can change the size of a shape, but it leaves the shape unchanged. That means if it was a square before, it's a square again. If it was a circle before, it's a circle again. It's not like I'm saying, okay, here's my triangle, and now it's suddenly a rectangle. That is, yeah, that's definitely not a dilation. And these are my drawings, so if you're like, that doesn't look like a dilation, it's a sketch, guys. It's a sketch. All right. Another thing dilation will have is a center of dilation and scale factor, and we'll get into that, I believe, in the first lesson. So feel free to write your own definition and your own words, but here is the textbook definition of dilation. All right, continuing on, one of the last activities before we start our new lesson is just to circle the images that have gone through a dilation. So take a minute, pause, and figure out which one you think are dilations. And unpause. So like I said, the worst thing you could do is you get it incorrect and you learn something new. So one of the first ones that I see is a dilation are the cats. Meow. Anyways, moving on. The triangles. Notice we have a small blue triangle and a large red triangle. Also, this 5-sided shape looks kind of like home base of a plate in baseball. Now, a lot of students will, why didn't you circle this one? So notice that essentially, even though they look kind of similar, this part right here is way too wide. It's not proportional. So it didn't kind of change. It's not like, you know, I stretched out the width or the height of this cat. I kind of kept it proportional. So it's not proportional. Sorry. And if you're wondering, well, why didn't you circle these two? Because it didn't change size. In fact, yes, why not this one either? Because it didn't change size. Stayed the same shape or picture, but it just didn't change size. All right, we'll be coming back here for the next lesson. Stay tuned.